This is a content warning for this episode. It's The Boys, so if you've seen the show, you know what we're going to get into, and if you haven't, well, maybe look it up and see if it's something that you maybe don't want to listen to us talk about.
Welcome back to the Interior Analysis Podcast. I'm your host for this one, Jelani Kelly.
And I'm Evan Westman.
And we're talking about The Boys Season 2. Just wrapped up. I think the finale was last week.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's a great show. I'm actually watching Sundays I watch a show with my mom, my brother, and my stepdad. Like, we're all on, FaceTime. And we just watched Season 1, Episode 4 today as of this Sunday, the 18th.
Of The Boys?
Yeah. Yeah, we're watching. We like that show so much. We're having both our dad and mom watch it. Like my biological dad, we're finishing Umbrella Academy, which I don't really like as much. But
Ellen Page, though. That's the only reason I might want to watch that is Ellen Page.
I haven't seen her in... Only things I've seen her in is X-Men: The Last Stand. And I think it was a Game Beyond, but I don't know, what else she's in. Why?
She's in Inception, is one.
Oh, that's why. You know what?
Yes.
You don't need to go further than that. Don't.
Also Juno, but I don't know if you've seen that, but that's kind of her big one, or her first big one was Juno.
All right, let's get into it. We're going to start off with a couple questions. I'm going to ask you, Evan. Who's your favorite character?
If you had asked me in episode 2, I would have said Stormfront. Episode 3 and on, not so much.
Yeah. I think you mean Nazi much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, aside from that, I think I'm going to probably say Homelander. I thought it was going to be Maeve, and then they didn't quite do as much as I had hoped with her this season. But yeah, I mean, Homelander is just the most compelling. I felt like I had your reaction to it because I was like, I don't like all the human characters. I only like the soup ones.
Yep.
At least for this season. That wasn't really the case for the first one, but that was kind of my feeling in this one.
Mm-hmm. We'll get into Homelander a little later.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's your favorite too, right?
Yeah. I would ask a question. Who's your favorite The Boys character and why is it Homelander? You know? He's just a treat. You love to hate him, but I also don't really he did rape Becca and that's not very nice. But other than that, he's so despicably evil. It's hilarious. We'll get into Homelander later. I could go on a rant all day about the guy. And Anthony Starr. Predictions for season 3. So a lot of shit. Okay, there's gonna be a lot of swearing for this probably because it's The Boys and it's a very mature show. Very, very mature. A lot of shit happened at the end of this. At the end of the season 2, there was Newman with the twist ending. Well, Cindy got out. That wasn't at the end. At the end, Becca did. Stormfront got clapped, but she's not dead.
How do we know she's not dead? I saw that in your notes, and I was like, I thought she died.
No, they confirmed it. She's like Anakin Skywalker right now, pretty much. That was actually really funny. Ryan laser visioned her so hard she got knocked back to the 1940s. That's into her native language. It's funny. What else happened at the end? There's just a lot of MM went back to his family. I think Frenchie and Kimiko are doing their own thing. Lamplighter was introduced and then got clapped as well. That was before the finale, but Ryan is under the CIA's protection now, quote unquote protection. Yeah, what are you thinking for season 3, Evan?
I don't know if I really have predictions because it almost felt like they are kind of letting the air out of the balloon, except for the thing with Newman. I was watching it and I was really surprised at how optimistic the ending was. I was like, wow, this feels like it could be the end of the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
I was also thinking this is too successful. They're probably going to do a third season, but
They're already filming
You
it,
know,
or they're planning to start filming it like in like 2 months or something.
yeah, which figures. I mean, been pretty successful.
Yes.
I'm not really sure what they could continue doing. I guess Newman is going to be some kind of villain, but I've also immediately wondered, like, when we found out she was the one who blew everyone up, like she's the head popper, or I don't know what we want to call that power.
Nope, that's what everybody calls her.
That's what it's called, head popping. Okay.
No, that's not her soup name, but like that's what everybody on. I spent a lot of time on Reddit, so that's what everybody on Reddit is calling her, the head popper.
I mean, it's just as dumb of a name as the Deep, so I don't really mind if that's what they call her.
Homelander.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, that sounds like a 7-year-old came up with it.
Yeah.
I don't think it isn't like a knock on his character, but it's not the most imaginative name.
Black.
Yeah, yeah, black. But yeah, I was immediately wondering, like, what is her motive for doing that? Because she seemed fairly like anti-soup, but now we find out she's one. So I'm wondering if maybe she gave herself Compound V, like she wasn't
No,
given it at birth.
no, you know she works for Vought,
Oh,
right?
is that not how it works?
She works.
Yeah,
for,
no, she. Well, wait, no, she's like a senator, right?
Yeah, she's a spy for Vought.
I missed that.
It's
Okay.
yeah, no, she's like in cahoots with Stan Edgar. Like he's still the head, and he's having her do all of this stuff. Like she's underneath him.
Is that you speculating, or do we know
No,
that?
we know that.
We know that. Okay.
She's part of
I
the
did
whole
not pick
Vought
up on
thing.
that.
That's why she clapped Vogelbaum and all those the people. Yeah, the Vought and the church were in cahoots, which is why you know how the church was trying to get A-Train back in and the Deep. They really got A-Train back in. That's why she also killed Shockwave in that head popping scene, to make room for A-Train, because the church and them were having like deals and stuff. Then they severed ties in the most explosive way possible.
Okay, you followed all of that a lot better than I did.
Reddit, bro. I didn't. I did not at all. I was like, at the end of the season, I was really confused as to whose side Newman was on. So,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Newman is really the only thing that's like really keeping us on the hook for season 3. I guess also like I would assume Homelander is gonna try to pull something because he's kind of in a bind right now. Like,
kinda.
people don't hate him, but he's also like, Maeve has the video hanging over his head, so he's gonna have to be on his toes there, I guess.
I was really expecting him to snap the entire season at any point, and I really wanted to see it. But
Same.
down the line, I guess. I hope. I guess. I'm just waiting for the day, bro. It's bound to happen. I really thought it was going to happen this season, but we got to wait, which is fine. That's how TV works.
Yeah. I just hope they don't. The thing that I wonder about that is, like, as soon as Homelander in the eyes of the public becomes, like, an actual, like, the villain and monster that he is, like, that puts kind of a expiration date on the show as a whole, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like you can't have him just going around terrorizing people for more than, like, maybe one season.
Right.
Like, maybe that could be a season finale, and then that's, like, the hook for the season after that.
Right.
That would be how I would expect them to do that. I would like to see it, too, but I wonder how they're going to go about it and how long they can afford to wait.
Yeah. Anything else before we get into themes? Got a lot of things.
I mean, just to follow up from season 1, you're going to be upset, but I was still a little disappointed we didn't get a soup named Chicken Noodle or Lentil.
Oh my god.
But there is always season 3.
Oh my god.
So I'm still hopeful.
Oh my god.
I just want a nod to it. Like, it doesn't have to be big. I just want a nod to it. That's my only other initial note. So let's get into topics.
We could have just gotten right into topics. I haven't. All right. We're kind of just gonna gloss over this one because we talked about this topic last time, like in great detail. Corporate. The fact that a man like Stan Edgar, a guy with no superpowers whatsoever, can effortlessly stand up to Homelander with no fear speaks volumes to how powerful or how powerful Vought thinks it is. Like, people were speculating that he was, I think this is in my extra notes, but they were speculating that a couple of people were the head papa. And Cindy was one of the suspects, but she was way too obvious. A lot of people are saying. Another good one was the church head, which made a lot of sense if he was the head popper.
Yeah.
And then he got his head popped. And then the other person was Stan Edgar, which I thought also could have made sense, which is why, like, he's so, like, non-fearful of Homelander. But like I said, the fact that he doesn't have superpowers, like, Jesus Christ, he's just smiling in a killer's face like it's nothing. It's pretty brave or stupid or both. What's crazy is, like, I don't know if it's meta or not, but, like, this show is also made by a company that's as huge as Vought is in its own world. Right. Hey, we're gonna make this show about how bad corporate America is, but we are corporate America. Haha, get it? We're just making fun of ourselves, guys. Buy this show. Like, that's pretty much how it's going. You have anything on corporate or?
Yeah, I mean, we did definitely have more of that, like, making the Soups brands kind of their biggest asset and their biggest weakness. And we kind of saw a little more, like, one thing that I noticed that was a little odd was, like, Homelander was, like, very big on showing Ryan, like, all of his, like, products and stuff. Be like, hey, get my, like, pancakes or whatever.
I got all these movies.
You want to go ride the Homelander ride at Vaughtland or whatever. Yeah, he was, like, weirdly obsessing over getting Ryan into that. And yeah, there were a few lines. I think somebody used, like, I'm going to call TMZ as, like, a threat, I think, in one of the early episodes. And I was like, yeah, that checks out. That does feel like the way to keep all of them in control. And we really feel it with Homelander, just like you were saying, like, he could snap at any moment, but he does care so much about his public image that, like, he doesn't even need someone to really threaten him with it directly. It's just like he knows the optics, and that's enough to keep him on his toes, I think. Tied in with that, this is so I'm tying this in with your, like, corporate culture topic, because I think this might have been why they did this. So I feel like this show might be starting to run itself into the Bright problem, because there were a weird amount of recent pop culture references this season that felt like they were kind of breaking the world of the story a little bit. Like, I'm just going to list off a few of them. Like, we had Alden Ehrenreich, Harry Potter, Hunger Games, Hans Zimmer, Ed Sheeran, PewDiePie, Pokemon, Hamilton, and Lin-Manuel Miranda. Like, that's pretty recent stuff. And I was wondering, like, they did it so much. Like, are they trying to make a commentary there?
I think so. I think they're trying to say it's like the world, we're not too far off from the world we live in. Like, if Compound V were to actually become a thing, this is how it would go.
I see that, but also, like, I don't know that it would. Like, Soup's apparent, like, they talked about Liberty was, like, or Liberty in quotes, because we found out it's Stormfront, but, like, she was active in the 70s. So, like, how long have Soups been mainstream? And they're like, they talk about they all have, like, Hans Zimmer is scoring the, what is it, Rise of the Seven movie, which
Dawn of the
totally would happen. Totally would happen. But, like, if those are the big box office movies that they're making, like, sorry, I don't know that Hamilton is a hit in a world where you've got Homelander flying around.
That's
or,
true.
Like, do people care about PewDiePie in that kind of universe? Like, did Hunger Games make it big? I don't know that any of that would happen. Like, and it's just, I feel like they are trying maybe to tie it in, because they are making all this commentary on corporate culture. Vought, like you said, Amazon, and I think that's an apt comparison. I think Disney is an equally
Jesus Christ.
apt comparison.
I'm not going to say nothing on air about Anything bad about Disney? Everything's great.
Yep. Yeah. No, but like I feel like they might be trying to make Vought seem like Disney. I kind of felt that maybe that's not the case, but it just got very confusing for me because like these soups all do have such a big pop culture presence, and we see that throughout the entire show. We see the ads for like A Train sports drink and stuff everywhere, and that cringy rainbow lasagna they made for Maeve.
Brave made pride bars.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. That was good commentary, but still kind of annoying to see the rainbow capitalism at work there.
What about She's Got Help? We'll get into that too.
Yeah, but you know they're making all this commentary, and if it does feel like it's breaking the world a little bit. I think you might be right with your answer of like they want it to feel like the real world, where like they're saying, oh, like you know we've got soups, but Ed Sheeran's still making hits. Like,
I'm in
okay,
love with the soup of you.
somebody low key has definitely made that by now.
Probably.
Of course, it's not nearly as bad as they do it in Bright, where like they're referencing Shrek when
In the
orcs have been
Alamo.
around for thousands of years. Yeah, in the Alamo. It wouldn't be a problem if the soups weren't such a big pop culture presence, or if the references weren't so recent. Like when Huey's talking about Billy Joel, I don't feel like that causes an issue because that's you know he was big in like the 70s, 80s, so that's long enough ago that I feel like that would still happen. And also like say you reference Shape of You, like fine, except that like if you reference Shape of You in a Marvel movie, that would kind of make sense because it does feel like it's sort of separate from that. Like I think what is it? Doctor Strange, someone plays a Beyonce song in that, I think.
Oh well.
Yeah. But I didn't feel like it was a problem there because they're not doing like such hard corporate commentary and like Iron Man doesn't have his own brand of sneakers or whatever in the MCU. Whereas here it's like soups feel like they've taken over pop culture. So I don't think kids are still playing Pokemon as much. 2020 with Homelander flying around. That might be a nitpick, but that really bugged me this season.
All right. Getting to the next one. Childs. I saw an honest trailer for season 1, and they made a point about if someone is too evil, the show would just give them a child, and boom, problem solved. They're no longer like a sociopathic, unrelatable asshole. Homelander, even though he raped Becca, he got a child. Stormfront, who outlived her child but still had a child. Vogelbaum, who was responsible for fucking creating Homelander, has a child that Butcher threatened. Butcher never had a child, no, so he don't really count. But even like the side character, like the person that Starlight accidentally kills, he had a child when she got in the car. There was a baby on board, or a baby he was probably going to pick up or something. Only person we haven't seen with fucking kids this so far is Stan Edgar. Like pretty much, like everybody who's old enough to have kids has kids. Madeline Stillwell had a kid. I think that baby died in the explosion, but they didn't show it or mention it. Who else has kids? I mean, I didn't see the church head, but we didn't know much about him before his head exploded. So, yep, they're too evil. Just give him a child.
Yeah, they did seem to have kind of tied in with that. I wonder if like they were going for something with parenting as a theme this season because you had the whole deal with Becca trying to protect Ryan and then Homelander really getting in the way of everything she was trying to do there.
Yep.
And you kind of had like there was that little tangent where Butcher met with his parents, which seemed a little random to me, but I think they were doing that in order to give more weight to him, like his relationship with Ryan. So it felt like they were kind of going for something with that. And even, I guess, maybe tied in with that too is like Starlight kind of confronting her mom about like, how did it work? Like buying Compound V for her or like signing her up for a program.
Yeah.
I don't remember how that worked, but I know that was a point of tension between them. So it did feel like they were kind of trying to develop something with parenting and kids this season. Especially like Ryan felt like he was kind of, I don't want to say like the moral center of the show. I don't think that's what it was.
Nope.
But it was kind of like maybe even a MacGuffin. It was kind of like he was the thing everyone wanted to protect.
$1 billion piece of property. That's what Bully Butcher referred to him as.
Yeah. So he's like, he's really unique in that way, but also like, I honestly like just on as its own thing. I kind of like the idea of making a person a MacGuffin. I think that
Like the Fifth
that can be an
Element.
interesting thing to do.
I've never seen that movie, but I'm assuming the girl was the Fifth Element,
Oh, I haven't seen it either, but I think you might be right.
Lulu or whatever.
I think that can be kind of a cool thing that makes a MacGuffin actually mean something when it's a person.
Men in Black too.
Oh yeah, Men in Black 2 does kind of do that, huh? Yeah, I wonder if they're going to do more with that in season 3, but it's kind of unclear what's going to happen with Ryan. Like, he's just kind of getting carted off, but Homelander's still out there, and Ryan's still out there.
People are saying he's gonna be the one that beats Homelander. I don't know if I believe it.
That would feel like a really dark take for that to happen, unless they like flash forward 20 years and Ryan's an adult. But like Ryan is like a 12-year-old killing his dad. Like, I mean, that kid's gonna be messed up as it is, like having
Yes.
already killed his own mom by
Never been to
accident.
Burger King.
Yeah.
Oh
His-
yeah, and he had killed his mom, but he's also never been to Burger King.
I mean, he's not missing out on much there, but I get your point.
Wow,
Um,
Evan, you don't like Burger King?
It's I'm not gonna do backflips.
Hey,
for Burger
guys.
King.
Evan doesn't like Burger King. Boo.
I mean, come at me. Like, it's not that good. Yeah, so this was kind of another. I'm going to kind of lump two in together, but they're pretty quick. So, an issue I had this season was, and it's not a huge one, I guess, but like there felt like there were some plot threads that kind of got dropped off, or they never went anywhere. With like the soup terrorists and then Congress getting their heads blown up, and the whole thing with Sage Grove and the Compound V reveals. Maybe because it sounds like you've been doing a lot more research than I have on this. Maybe it's just I missed some things and how they were connected, or like I missed some of those little moments, but it felt like they didn't quite have enough repercussions, or there were like points where the motivations kind of got lost, where I was like, why is this important, and why did this character, like when Butcher shot Kamiko's brother, I was like, why did he just do that? I couldn't track the motivation there. Maybe there was a reason, but
Yeah,
like,
it was for the boys. It was for his boys. He's trying to get them out. It was, oh God. Mallory promised if he would have captured the soup terrorists there, like, they'd be free or something like that. He was trying to help his team and get to Becca, like, grant safe passage to Becca, but he never got them.
okay.
Oh, no. He wanted information on where Becca was. He didn't get the soup terrorist, but Mallory gave it to him anyway, gave him the information.
Okay. I can't tell if this is like just a problem with me as a viewer that I missed it and it's there, or if they actually like kind of cut some corners and like I don't know. It felt like maybe some of the stuff they did, especially with the boys, was like kind of filler. Like maybe they had more episodes than they needed.
That's true. Like the scene with him, Butcher, back at his aunt's house in Black Noir.
Yeah, that part, I don't even remember what they were doing there. I think there was a reason, but I don't remember it. That was a little bit of an issue that I have with this season. I guess it wasn't like that little, but it was offset by the fact that like there are more compelling storylines with like Homelander and Stormfront, and then I actually was kind of here for the Butcher and Becca storyline. That was actually one of my more favorite parts of the season. Like they did those really well. So I was still interested when they were going to stuff that I wasn't as into. I'm not going to say it was a good choice, but I think they backed the right horses. Like, yeah, I'm glad they put more work, or they put their best work into those characters. And, like, not that we want filler, but like I think it was better to make the stuff with the boys the filler, if we want to call it that. And tied into that, what really made me like able to easily forgive a lot of what I didn't like about some of the earlier episodes was the climax of this season was really good. It was like pretty cool and surprising for one thing, but I think it did a really good job forcing a lot of characters, or at least a few, into hard choices. Like Maeve choosing to stand up to Homelander was a choice. Homelander has to choose between killing Butcher or like maintaining his reputation. And then Butcher, I thought, had the best choice at the end when Ryan kills Becca. He has to choose between protecting Ryan and like respecting Becca's memory or taking revenge on Ryan. And in that moment, I was like, oh, I thought he was going to like go to town on Ryan and like try to beat him up with the crowbar. But I was really glad that he didn't. That was pretty good. But like, I think that's maybe like the biggest thing that this season did well was building to that climax. Because like, to tie it in with like a couple other things we talked about, like Pirates 3, and then
No.
this is going to be a good note. This is a praiseworthy note. I'm sorry for bringing them up. But like that and Spider-Man 3, we talked a little bit about like, why is this the climax? And like, I think it's pretty clear why in this one. And it makes it makes everything that came before it worth it. If possible, of course, I think try to make the journey and the destination good. But like, having a good ending is worth a lot, I think. Like, I've had several professors tell me, like, you can have an average first 80% of a movie, but if you have a good ending, everyone's going to walk out happy.
Endgame.
Yeah, Endgame's a good example of that. There's nothing else coming to mind right now, but I know I've had a couple professors say that to me, like, people won't necessarily care if you have, like, a decent build-up. If you don't deliver on the ending, they're going to walk out like, not that great. So I think this season was a good testament to that, of like why it can be so good to like put a lot of energy and effort into making the ending and the climax really powerful.
I got a question for Ryan. Also, did you know that the actor that plays Ryan, there's actually twins? They both playing.
Oh, no, I didn't. I've heard people do that sometimes with casting kid actors, usually younger than that.
Because he's not allowed to, it's like more than 12 hours, I think.
Yeah, and he's in a lot of this season.
Yeah. Doing a really great job.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I was surprised how good, I was going to say the actor, but now that you're saying it, both of them did a really good job with him.
Why didn't he just walk up to Stormfront with his laser vision instead of shooting her from afar?
I think probably just like heat of the moment, and I don't think he necessarily wanted to do that, and but he barely knows how to use it.
Once he felt the act, like I feel like you would know when your fucking eyes are glowing. Like I don't think it's that hard to tell.
I mean, he's the one person who can't see them. So
you can't feel that. You can't feel the heat coming out of your eyeballs. You can't see like a tint of red or anything. Like nothing.
I'm gonna defend him there. Like in the heat of the moment,
he should have defended his mother. But
think about how high his adrenaline would be in that situation. Like his mom's getting choked out by a Nazi, and he's like expecting.
He doesn't know she's a Nazi.
Okay, whatever. His mom's getting choked out by someone who shoots lightning out of her hands, and you expect him to be composed and under control. I think he's fine there.
Yeah, he should have just walked up to her and was like, "Eat this," and said some cool line, and then lasered her, and turned her into Darth Vader.
I think he did fine. I mean, not okay.
He killed his mom, Evan.
I wouldn't have expected him to do any better. He's a 12-year-old who can shoot lasers out of his eyes. Like, if I'd been able to do that at 12, you know how many things I would have torched by accident?
Well, when I was 12, I was already 13, so he needs to grow up.
Good for you. But the rest of us are subjects to the laws of math. So I don't know what you're doing over there.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the climax as much only because I was really counting on Homelander to snap. Like, I've been waiting since the beginning of season 1 for him to go public with this thing. And when I saw the promo for, because I've followed it religiously every week, like, it was an event for me personally. Like, I was sitting down and, like, it was like I was going to movie theater. I had snacks and drinks ready on hand at midnight every Friday morning. I've been waiting for Homelander to, like, the promo thing. So I saw the promo, the trailer for that scene when Homelander lasers the crowd.
Yes.
And people were saying, oh, it's in his head. It's probably likely in his head. And everybody was hoping it wasn't, but guessed it was in his head. And of course, it ended up being a dream thing. And I cannot, let me tell you something as a writer, as writers, stop doing those fucking scenes, please. I don't care if it services the story. I don't care if you establish that the narrator is unreliable from the fucking beach. Please stop doing the fake outs. I cannot stand fake outs. Like when Huey, at the very beginning, I think it was episode 1.
Yeah, I remember when he
shouted at the
lawyer,
fucking lawyer and was like, yo, what is the point? I know, like, he obviously is feeling bad. He wants to say a whole bunch of things. He's not going to do it, even though his actions, of course, down the line say otherwise. Like, stop doing these fucking fake out scenes, please. I don't know anybody that's satisfied from watching these fake out scenes. Like, one of the biggest I can think of, and I didn't even watch the fucking movie, was Twilight, with the part 2 of the third movie, the last one, where they're all fighting in the snow and they're all fucking killing each other, but then it, like, pans out and one of the vampires was showing the other vampire what could happen, and they all just run away. Like, I heard so many people walked out on that movie because of that scene alone, even though it was the ending scene, so kind of pointless. But
yeah, they already got your money.
Yeah.
Also, you made it through 3 or 4 Twilight movies before that, so
right, like,
that says something.
Yeah. Stop it. That's it.
I get like that. I wanted that scene to be real too.
Oh,
like,
my God.
Maeve's line, she says something like, I don't care if you kill a lot of people, or like
everybody will know you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't think it's I don't care if you kill a lot of people. It was something like she didn't care if she ruined her career. Something like that. I felt kind of the same. I was like, I just want to see him be that terrible and like have everyone know.
Yes, please.
And yeah, and we've already kind of talked about that. Like, when is that going to happen? Because as soon as I saw that, I was like, I kind of suspected it would be a dream sequence. I didn't connect to. I don't know if I saw those promos before watching the episode, but I remember watching that scene and I was like, this might be a dream sequence, but what if it's not?
Right.
Like, can you imagine the kind of ramifications that would have on the rest of the
wanted to
season?
see that. I wanted to see that.
That would have been huge if he had actually gone.
It would have been so great, and that would have changed the rest of the season, of course. But like,
the question too is like, one of the things about that moment was like, the public opinion was like really turning against him in that scene. I think because it was in reaction to like him kind of going a little too commando on that some village or terrorist group, something like that.
Yeah.
And the crowd was reacting, being like, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. And I was like, this might be enough to push him over the edge, because he does care so much about his image. But since it didn't, I'm now starting to wonder, like, what is going to be the thing that sends him over the edge, where he stops caring about how everyone views him.
They showed that scene also, like the beginning when he first lasers the soldier. They showed just that clip in the trailer for the entire season before the season dropped. Bro, I'm so sick of these fucking fake outs. Just
have you seen the Secret Life of Walter Mitty?
I haven't.
Okay, that movie is like basically centered around that exact thing.
No,
I think it's to good effect.
I don't want to.
I honestly wonder if you. I don't know if you would have the same problem because the point of it is kind of that he does imagine these things. He's just like kind of a regular
I
guy,
don't want to.
and he has these like little fantasies
I
that
think
he doesn't
Kristen Wiig
act
in that.
on.
I think I saw a
Uh,
part of it.
Possibly. I haven't seen that in years. I think I saw it when I was like 15, maybe. It's Ben Stiller is the
Yeah,
main guy. It might be Kristen Wiig. I don't remember. I now think of those moments you're talking about as Walter Mitty moments because they just
MIDI moments.
because
No,
they
no,
do
no.
it so
I just
much.
shortened it. It
MIDI moments.
alliterations.
MIDI moments. Yep. Coin it. Hashtag it. Let's go. Um, I feel you on that, like on the frustration there, not nearly as strongly,
Just
but like
stop. Yeah, every time I see a fake out scene, I'm just like, yo, just do it, you punks. What are you scared of? Just do what that character was originally thinking. Just, bro, like, you know what I would love if it was a fake out scene, right? This is the only time I'd love a fake out scene currently. If they did a fake out scene and then the scene plays out, you back out and it's like show that they were dreaming or whatever, and then they go back into and then they actually like reenact everything that was just in that dream sequence. I'm sure that's been done before.
I feel like it has. I don't know what it might have been done in.
I'm fine with that. That is perfect because then they're doing it. Like there's, you get the ramifications or whatever after doing that dream thing, making that a reality. But like, bro. All right, let's. Blackmail, most powerful superpower in the show, like over invulnerability and all that. Starlight blackmailing Gecko. A-Train trying to blackmail Starlight when he came back. He was like, "Hey, I'm back, bitches." And Starlight, I remember everything that you did, and you smashed your boyfriend who's trying to take Vought down. And she was like, "No, you're not going to do that." She did that a couple of times during this season. Like with Stormfront, she was like, "No, you're not going to do that. You know what? You don't want to tell anybody because then you're going to go down with me. So, no, you're not doing that." Maeve blackmailing Homelander at the end, obviously. Butcher blackmailing Stan Edgar. That not in the scene where they confront each other. That was the scene where Black Noir was in the house, and Black Noir received the phone call. Oh
yeah.
Threatening to release photos of I forget what the photos are from. Stormfront trying to blackmail Starlight when she catches her in the trailer. Starlight threatening to out Stormfront on being Liberty in that same scene. Yeah, blackmail is the most powerful superpower in the show, and everybody does it. Everybody's evil.
Yeah, I don't think I have a lot on that. There was a lot of blackmail in the show, and I don't think it was too much.
It works.
So like it works. It makes sense because, like we've said, like there is such a focus on public opinion. So like it is a big thing to like. It's actually a good bargaining tool.
A lot from season 1 as well. Huey doing that with the elastic guy.
Oh yeah,
He
Ezekiel.
said you played my butt like jazz with poise and willingness to improvise. That's probably one of the funniest scenes. Oh, and the whole thing of me waiting for Homelander. Like, my favorite scene still to this day was the plane scene. Like, I just rewatched it today with my mom. It's still... Not the one with Maeve, not the first one in the first episode at the end. No, the one with Maeve when he goes off on... Like, that wasn't a fake-out scene. Seeing him snap on... Stay the fuck back, I will laser you, goddammit. I will laser every single fucking one. Yo, that's what I need.
Yeah, I think that remains my favorite scene in the whole show too. Like, I mean, we had some good moments this season, but I don't think anything tops
the one where
plane
he closes the door comes close though. Not super close, but like that's if there was a second one, that'd be it for me. The end when they stupidly put the phone on speaker and was like, "Do you have the boy?" And
oh yeah, I thought that might be
silently closes the door like he's not about to fuck them up. Politely closes the door. Is like, "Did I hear you that right?" And he said, "Where is my son?" Yeah. I'm seeing people ask for Anthony Starr to win an Emmy, which I would completely understand. I've never seen him in anything else, but the range he has with this fucking sociopath of a character.
yeah.
Like, even his facial expressions, you can kind of tell what he's thinking. Like, when Stormfront was going off about white genocide, and he was looking at her like, what the fuck? No. What? Why are you talking to my son about? No, that's not how that works. He legit steals every scene he's in. But Butcher came close in that final scene with them and Ryan in the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But only that scene. Like,
yeah,
that was,
pretty much.
That's like Anthony Starr is consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that scene where the shapeshifter was him and it was like him acting across from himself. I was like, wow, this guy has got range.
Yeah.
That was a pretty amazing acting job there. And also, like, you know, like, he is just terrifying. Like,
the scene with Starlight in the elevator.
Yes.
Go ahead, sorry.
He, like, any scene that he's in is like automatically stressful, which I can't honestly I know there are other characters that have had that effect for other people, but he is one of possibly the only one who has for me. That might just be not to say that he's like necessarily the absolute best. I mean, put him up against maybe like Hannibal Lecter or someone like that. That is kind of one of the greatest things about watching this show is just like, what will Homelander do in any scene?
I said, I don't remember if I said it in the season 1 episode. I probably did, but the whole reason I started watching the show, I'd seen promos, I'd seen the fucking unskippable YouTube ads, they were everywhere promoting this show, and I was like, dude, I don't want to watch this show. I saw a recommended YouTube video about Homelander, or no, I might have just looked it up one day, because I think I saw a recommended YouTube video about the Boys comic, and looked up Homelander, and it showed his best scenes from season 1, and I saw that plane scene. I was like, I'm watching this show now.
Yep. I think you did mention that for season 1.
Yep. And I might mention it for season 3, because I'll probably forget that I said it again. Like I said, my favorite scenes, because I only did this for Homelander, because he's my favorite character, obviously. Favorite scenes from him include the dream scene when he lays the crowd. I only wish it was real. And it's so fucked up of me to say that, because it's like a fucking terrorist act, like domestic terrorism, but because of how dark the show is and how fucked up it is, I can't help but be drawn to it. Like I said, like the plane scene.
I don't know that that's necessarily like sadistic. Like, we love great villains.
Yeah.
Like, that's a. And I'm not even really someone who's that into that, but with him, I feel it. There's a few villains that I really like, but you know, a lot of appeal of a number of things, like people like Moriarty or the Joker, or
I was just thinking about the Joker. I don't like the Joker. But I get it.
Like, the appeal of those characters is like that they go there. Like, they will do anything, so we want to see them do anything and come up with something really twisted. Like, in terms of the Joker, people love that boat scene in The Dark Knight where he's got the boats rigged. Like, that's kind of that's like a thing that's like very unique to the Joker. I'm trying to think of a situation, but like, there's a couple of villains for Sherlock Holmes that I just absolutely love because of like how they're a contrast to him and how they like are just some of the most like despicable people. Yeah, we got to talk about Sherlock someday, dude. I love that show.
Episode.
I feel like I just end up talking about Charles Magnuson and Moriarty for a lot of it, though. I gotta rewatch that show. That show is so freaking good.
And there was also like, he wasn't necessarily like the best villain, but there was that one really fucking fantastic scene when he's figuring out. I haven't even mentioned the fucking movie yet. Spider-Man: Homecoming in the car when Peter's in the back seat and Michael Keaton is driving. He's like,
"What are you gonna do, Pete?"
He's like, "Good thing your pal Spider-Man showed up."
Old pal Spider-Man.
Good old Spider-Man.
I know. Michael Keaton is one of those people who can like, just him playing just the guy is like, he can be pretty intimidating just as himself.
Yeah, villains are good. Villains, when they're done right, they're fantastic. I like you said, and like I said, I like the intensity, the fact that you don't know what he's gonna do every time he's in a scene, and I'm looking forward to when, and I said this in season 1, I'm looking forward to when I get there in my book. Like, I get a villain that's like the toppest of the tier, of the tiers of as far as like strength out of all the beings in the fucking universe and all that. I get to a point where one of the villains is pretty much undefeatable, and they can pop up anywhere at any time when they want, and when they're in a scene, I want to experience writing a my scenes like that, like playing off the horror. And
I get that appeal though, like, and I kind of hadn't before. Like, I know you've talked about it, but this season I think I started to kind of get it. Like,
yeah,
when you do have that guy who can do anything he wants,
yeah,
that, like, you automatically almost start getting into like philosophical questions, like those sayings like power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Like, Homelander is kind of that saying in action,
right. Like, I imagine sometimes putting myself in those shoes. Like, imagine you couldn't be killed no matter what. The government couldn't do jack shit to you. Like, no sort of human-made weapons could work on you whatsoever. And let's say, for example, you never aged. You could really do whatever the fuck you wanted, and nobody could stop you. Would you really live a normal-ass life?
I don't think you would, but like I think that is kind of the thing where, like, you've made comparisons, and the show is clearly making a comparison to Superman, where like he is that and he does good with it. And Homelander is kind of playing into that exact thing where he wants everyone to think that he's Superman, but he's not.
The comparison I've seen is Superman is how America views itself, but Homelander is how the world views America.
Yeah, that's a great comparison.
Yep.
His flag cape again was like really scary, and I'm gonna try not to get political, but like the context I have seen the American flag come up in kind of played into that when I was watching it this season. Like, the American flag, partly because of the show, partly because of political events, is starting to be a scary thing for me. If you don't mind, if you're done with Homelander, I'm gonna transition that into one of my last topic, because I felt a bit of more than a bit. They felt like they were commenting on white supremacy in this season.
The fact that the American was making out with the Nazi.
Yeah, like a symbol of America got busy with a literal Nazi this season. Like, that happened. Yeah, I kind of felt like their team up was, and the way that Homelander was, like, Stormfront came out fully as a Nazi to him and was like totally unashamed of it, and he was kind of okay with it. Like, I was wondering how he was going to react, because,
yeah,
he seems like he's kind of okay with white supremacy. He seems pretty good with it. But that's one thing. Nazis and Americans traditionally did not get along. So I wondered if that would change it for him, and it didn't. Like, that's a take. I kind of felt like maybe they were commenting on, like, that was like a connection between power and white supremacy in America. Maybe feels like what maybe they were doing.
What the thing is, like, he wasn't really listening to her. Like, remember when she came out to him about being a Nazi? He wasn't really listening to her until she mentioned the fact that she needed him to lead them into their quote-unquote new era. He doesn't really give a shit about the Nazi stuff. It's him being the face of really anything. Him being loved for doing this thing. The fact that she needed him in order to do this whole Nazi shit. Like, remember his reaction when she was talking about white genocide to his son? Like,
okay, fair. He's still not stopping her from talking about white genocide to his kid. Like, he is more than complicit in this.
Yeah, no, he's still a despicable piece of shit. But I don't think he's completely okay with it. I'm not sure I don't know.
If he's not okay with it, he's not doing it.
It can be taken a whole bunch of ways. He hasn't, yeah. I think it could be taken multiple ways, but
At the very least, he is complicit.
yeah, he's not doing anything. Yeah, not doing anything to stop her. So
Yeah, and so to kind of go with that, there was also, I don't know how much I want to read into this because this was really confusing to me when they had that mural of Homelander with the Confederate flag for his cape. I was like, I don't get what the commentary there was, like either from the creator of it or from the show. I was like, is that someone who's like saying, hey, Homelander is like for Confederate values and they're happy about that? Or that was someone being like, hey, Homelander's represents Confederate values. Everyone look out. Like, I couldn't tell where that was coming from.
to answer your question, yes, both.
Both.
I don't know, both. Let's say both.
I know it was very like, it's a very specific thing to do, and I was immediately confused what they were trying to say there
Oh,
because it's sort of ambiguous.
the thing about Stormfront and Homelander, real quick, is like she believes, as a Nazi, she believes that people of color are below them, and Homelander believes everyone equally is below him. That's what that is.
I see that. Yeah, that's true. But like, he's also like, it kind of was played up too in that scene. I mean, I don't remember what race the guy was, but when Ashley was pitching him, like, hey, I think we should get like a differently abled person into the Seven, they bring in the blind guy, and he was so not there for it.
Yeah.
That felt
That
similar.
was another great scene. Up until that point, he hadn't, quote unquote, been himself, and then he fucking deafened a blind guy with a clap. Yeah.
But like, he does seem to care a lot about who's in the Seven with him, because he was like, no way am I having a blind dude in with the Seven. Like, no, screw that. Like, but then later he's also like, the two other moments with that was when he kicks A-Train out of the Seven. And like, it was kind of hard to tell whether that was like a keep the Seven white thing, or if it was because A-Train was like having like problems with his compound V addiction.
I think that was it. He was like, you can't run. The fact that, and I think it was also the fact that he never saw himself really close the A-Train, like with the fact that he kind of dismissed him. I don't know if it was Homelander's decision to get Shockwave.
Right, and that never really lasts, but I know it got called out, like, in that interview with Maria Menounos. Yeah, she called out, like, yeah, people are noticing Seven's a little bit overwhelmingly white. And then also in that scene, so this kind of was another thing that I wanted to mention, when he outs Maeve publicly and is like, well, we do have a gay soup, and she's like, who? And then he just out of nowhere outs Maeve. Like, one, power move, but two, like, I just wanted to say this because I thought it should have happened somehow in the show, like, that would have had ramifications, that he outs her without, like, that he does it at all. I think is like,
Cancel Homelander starts on Twitter.
Yeah, well, it kind of goes back to like the realism of the world. Like, if we're living in a world where Maria Menounos is interviewing him, then I think we're also living in a world where people would get upset that he was the one to out Maeve. Like, I know he's not trying to be an ally, but I feel like, just like, it seems to me like an unwritten rule of being an LGBT ally is like, the simplest thing to do is not out someone.
Yeah.
So I think that would, like, and the show never really comments on that. Like, even Maeve is like, what the hell? But more so as like a personal thing, like as a power move. She's not like, hey, what the hell? You don't do that. It felt like something that the show kind of should have called out, just if it was going to be realistic, and I wanted to mention that. To tie it back to what I was talking about, like, he does seem to care about how the Seven is viewed. and what they are projecting.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened in season 1 also with the Deep. He was like, Deep, we're getting all this backlash. Also, you're kind of lame, so you're out. Deep is so lame. Sorry.
I don't like him as a character at all. If that's all the topics, we got a lot of characters. We should really just kind of speed through it. All right. Well, we're just talking about the Deep. Deep is trash. But he's accidentally the hero of the season without his whole rediscovery bullshit thing. None of what happens in later episodes would have happened. The fact that he led the 7 to the boys in episode 3. He introduced A-Train to the church, which caused A-Train to eventually out Stormfront as a Nazi. He's the unsung, quote-unquote, hero. However, he's still a piece of shit. He's a terrible character to me. And, he also did that whole sexual abuse thing. People also refer to him as funny. I don't see it. I don't get that at all. I don't really find him funny.
I think he's funny in the sense that he's kind of a joke.
Yeah.
Like he, as a person, is kind of a joke.
He's a bit of a dumbass, too.
Yes. Yeah. So when you say you think he's a bad character, you just dislike him, or you don't think he's included well?
Not that he's not included well, but I just don't care for him.
Okay. Yeah, same. I would push back, though, on... I don't think he is the hero of the season. I think he stumbles into that. I think if you want the hero of the season, at least in the sense that you're talking about, I think that's A-Train.
But he couldn't have done it without the Deep.
Okay, but the Deep wasn't the one to do it. Like, A-Train, when he gives that, compromising file on Stormfront to Starlight and Huey, I think he really is being the bigger person there. Like, for one thing... What is it?
He said, "Sup, shitbirds," when he popped into their car.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but, he and Starlight have had some bad blood this season already.
Yeah.
So, they were kind of at odds. And then, when he does that, he was trying to get back into the 7, but I don't think him doing that gave him any better chance of doing it. It was doing it because it was the right thing to do. And, yeah, maybe there was a little bit of revenge with Stormfront there.
Fuck that Nazi bitch.
Yeah, but I think he was kind of doing it because, it was the heroic thing. And, when he got back into the 7 as a result, I was I felt like he deserved it. He had done the heroic thing and was getting to be a hero again for it. Yeah. So, I think it's him rather than Deep.
Also, that corny-ass thing where he was it's, maybe the dawn of the 7, but a sunset on the A-Train in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was a cool moment, though, because he was so not into doing the scene, and then he did it, and the director was like, I think we're good. That was really powerful, and I was like, oh, man, you don't even have to see him do it, you just, you feel how much this means to him.
Yeah.
I wasn't huge on him in season 1. I felt like he was a little bit, immature and, kind of full of hot air, but this season I was kind of rooting for him.
The whole thing with the money, you also gave a little hint to his backstory with you don't fuck with the money. People who only say that whatever Starlight said about not having the money or it's the right thing to do.
Oh yeah, I think it was doing the right thing.
It's people who say that didn't grew up with money.
Yeah, that was a good line.
Moving on. Butcher, he grew on me more this season. First, I kind of just viewed him as one of those main characters that's quote-unquote charismatic, and then I expected him to be most popular and loved. I think that's the case for Homelander, though. And the more I learned about his backstory and what he's willing to do for his boys, the more he grew on me. The fact that he cared for Huey, and even though did he punch him this? Yeah, he punched the shit out of him this season. Said that thing about Huey being his canary. He was softer towards him from that point on, which I enjoyed. I think Ryan will end up being more like Butcher than his father based off that one line Ryan says to him alone. What Butcher told him, don't be a C word. Mm-hmm. Speaking of, and you said it earlier, he was going to kill Ryan had Homelander not showed up. He was about to...
You think so?
He was about to Joker to Jason Todd his ass. He was going to kill him with that crowbar.
I kind of don't think so. I thought he might.
No, he was
But I want to read that scene as him...
Nope.
Actually...
Nope. Evan. No.
I'm gonna debate this,
No.
or not like too hard, but
He was
I
going to bash that child's brains in. The only reason Butcher was living was because of Becca and the fact that that child that came from her, he doesn't even really view, he says her child because it's really actually biologically not even his. The fact that that child killed the only reason he was doing any of the shit he was doing, the whole reason he became a part of the boys, like, yeah, he was gonna take him out of the. He never promised her. He never promised her before she died. I read somewhere that he didn't. I don't remember the end of the season if he said it or not, but he was gonna kill him. He was going to kill him.
I want to take a more optimistic reading
Nope.
of it. I think he was trying to.
Do you want to
the right
use
thing.
optimism in the boys, Evan? I laugh in your face.
I mean, this season ended fairly optimistic.
Huey's working for Vought. The girl that crushes shit is out of the psych ward. What else? Deep is who knows where. I guess
Okay,
A-Train
who
is back in the
cares either?
Yeah, that's true. A-Train is back in the 7. I guess that's good for him, but Homelander is on the verge of snapping. Huey, he's a screamy boy. He's Butcher's canary, I already said. Raynor, she got her head popped. We didn't really talk about that. I don't think we need to. They were setting her up as a character that might stay, like, a little longer than what she did, but then her nose was bleeding, and then, yeah, that kind of scared the hell out of me, but that was unexpected, but good. He actually brought Starlight and the boys closer together with his road trip with MM. Like, he went to the bathroom and MM and Starlight got closer talking about sweets. And then his almost dying brought Butcher and Starlight closer together because they were, like, watching him and talking about the kid's shampoo that he uses. Really weird, but still growing on me as a character, better and better. All the characters are kind of growing on me except the Deep. I don't think he'll ever do that. Anything on Huey from you?
Not really. I felt a lot less interested in him this season. He was actually kind of one of my favorite parts of season 1 this season. It felt like he was sort of more along for the ride. I know they had a few things with him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a bad character still, but he didn't have as much to do. I liked his struggle a lot more in season 1. And also, like, because, I mean, I know, again, you were talking about that scene with him in season 1 where he had the, like, fantasy of snapping at the lawyer. But, you know, that I think that was an effective use of a scene like that. Because, like, we feel him struggling with, like, is he going to be violent and vengeful like Butcher, or is he not? I talked about that in season 1, so I won't get into it again. But this season, I was not really as interested, but I don't think he's a bad character.
I'm sick of hearing the Billy Joel songs. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear it. I get it, I guess, because this is his own mom thing, but, like, I don't really care. I
think you should back Elton John instead. If he's getting a pop rock singer from that era, Elton John, I think, is far and away the better choice.
I don't want to hear Billy Joel. But I also don't want A-Train to run into me, because I besmirched Billy Joel, so... Starlight, she's becoming less and less innocent, obviously. The more time she spends with Huey and the boys, Huey, who also became corrupt, the more dirty things she does to reach the end game of eventually taking down Vought, like blackmailing Gecko and blackmailing pretty much everybody she comes into contact with. She eventually did also kill a guy. She killed a guy who had a kid. Mm-hmm. The guy had a kid, and she killed him because Butcher was being a jerk. If season 1 was Huey's season 2 was definitely more Butcher's season.
Yeah,
but, like,
agree.
Yeah, it was more just about Butcher this season than anybody.
With Starlight, though, I think they did some good stuff. Again, she was not, like, one of my more favorite parts of the season, but I did like some of the stuff they did with her, where she's kind of, you know, from the events of season 1, she's kind of been disillusioned with, like, what does being a soup even mean anymore? Yeah. Like, a couple lines I really liked from her. One was earlier on. She's like, "We risk our lives to make the world way worse." That hit pretty hard. Very, very true for her situation. Like, she's kind of like, I think you would call it like a Girl Scout character, where she's like kind of a neutral good.
Mm-hmm.
alignment, and is like she doesn't necessarily want to, like she doesn't want to be on the wrong side of the fight, and she feels like she is. But then it kind of does sort of come full circle with, at the end she has her other line: if you jump ship and you let the assholes steer, then you're part of the problem. And I think it's kind of her coming to terms with that conflict where like she's, because she does kind of betray the Seven and Vought in this season, and
Straight up.
almost gets kicked out. Like, yeah, she basically gets kicked out of the Seven at the one point when they have her locked up in the Vought building.
A building that has no security. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, it does. Yeah, true. A little bit of a logic hole there, I think. I mean, maybe you don't need security when you have 7 superheroes there. Anyway, not the point. I think that's a good conflict for her to have, where she's like, feels like she's on the side of the bad guys, but also can do a little bit more maybe because she's an insider there, and she takes advantage of that. So like, I feel like there are other characters, maybe in Game of Thrones, that are kind of like that. I guess Varys in Game of Thrones is kind of a character like that. I think that's a cool struggle, and also like for her, it really makes sense.
We're Stormfront. Don't root for her. From what I gathered from watching Weekly, people were rooting for her up until she was revealed to be a Nazi. When the first 3 episodes were released, I was looking at the Reddit, of course, the forum where people like were posting their reactions to the 3 episodes. And they were like, "Man, I was rooting for Stormfront. Yeah, she's racist." And then she turned out to be even worse than just every normal, average, everyday racist. She's a full-blown Nazi. I enjoyed reading those reactions, even though her being a Nazi was spoiled for me. Like at some point during me watching season 1, or I think at the end of season 1, like they were gearing up for season 2, and they were like, "Stormfront's gonna be in it. She's a Nazi." I was like, okay, wow. But she's also confirmed not dead, likely become Darth Vader or something, a cyborg of some. Yeah, I don't have much on her. Don't root for her. She a Nazi. Nazi's bad. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of had that reaction you were talking about, where like the first couple episodes, I was like, "Oh, she's kind of cool," like, and then end of episode 3 was like, "Oh, she's like vindictive and like kind of racist," and then oh, she's like very racist, and then oh no, she's a literal Nazi. Okay, yeah, that was a sharp turn. I don't know exactly what they were trying to do with that. Maybe they weren't trying to do too much except just like make it a cool, shocking reveal. I liked her line before we found out she was a Nazi. I think it was in like the second episode. "Fuck this world for confusing nice with good."
Yeah.
Like, I kind of like the spirit of that line. There's a David Fincher quote that is similar to it. It is kind of negated by the fact that she's the one who says it, because at first I was like, oh, maybe she is like someone who's like not nice but is good, and then I was like, oh, but she's not good either at all. Yep. So I thought it was like pretty bold to include her. At first I was like, oh, really bold that they made her a literal Nazi, but then I was like, that actually might be a little bit safer than making her, because like I think I read a comment too that was like, oh, she might be a Nazi, and I was like, I'm not really getting Nazi vibes from this. And I was thinking, oh, maybe she's like a neo-Nazi.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because I just didn't think that she would actually be 100 years old or whatever. But I think it was almost a safer choice to make her an actual Nazi, weirdly. Last note with her, though, for someone who's 100 years old, she's very good at social media. Like,
oh, yeah.
That was surprising. Like, at first I was like, she's just a millennial. But then when we found out, like, she was born in the 40s, I was like, I don't know if that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she was born in a time when, like, you hit someone up with a telegram, and now she's suddenly, like, an Instagram queen. Like,
hey, girl, let me get that telegram number. Shut Stormfront bad. Don't root for Nazis. Also, there's a quick thing. She when she was talking to A-Train, and he was asking, "Do you have a problem with me?" And she was like, "No. Why would you think that?" And then sipped her drink. On the drink, it looked like it was from Starbucks, and it said Storefront.
Okay.
So there's that, because you know how Starbucks fucks people's names up.
I think I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
instead
didn't
of
notice that at
Stormfront, it said
all.
Storefront.
I never get coffee, so
They
I
have
don't
tea
have those
too,
kinds of
Evan. Jesus
problems.
Christ, and food.
Yeah, I don't like tea
Oh my
either.
God, Evan, do you eat? What do you eat? Air? Hmm? You eat air,
Apples and
Evan?
pasta.
Apples and
Apples, pasta,
pasta?
quesadillas. That's what I've been living off for the past 3 weeks. It works. I like it. You know.
No
No.
comment. I'm not. No, we're not doing this, Evan. No. Maeve. How?
Maeve coming in with an assist.
How the hell was she getting around so fast in the final episode? I mean, I know she has super jumping, but like that should have made a sound somewhere. I think like she was kind of just popping up. She was like when she showed up to kick Stormfront's ass, and then she also like popped up behind Homelander to stop Homelander from clapping Butcher. Like, how did she can't fly? Obviously, she had that whole plane scene thing. She cannot fly. So I know she, like I said, I know she can jump, but like she was moving around like Black Noir, dog. Like how?
I think they just wanted it as a cool entrance moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Like the logic of it doesn't track. It ended up being a cool scene,
Sure.
so I'm good with it.
Her character's going downhill, like mentally, like not like as far as her character arc goes, but like Elena broke up and they got back together and they broke up again through the course of 2 seasons. That's a lot. Also, why is everybody an asshole to Huey? Like, remember when she called him a twink? That was mean.
Mm-hmm.
And then also in that same scene said she could snap it like dry fire. That was graphic. Starlight's mom, she was like the boy with the moist hands, really, when literally in like the episode before that, he saved them from prison single-handedly. Maybe triple-handedly because he had help from Lamplighter.
Ah, yes.
Yes. But Maeve, she's kind of doing her own thing, having her own little thing, kind of like the Deep was having his own little thing. She's a better character than the Deep, though, because Deep is trash. So, you have anything on Maeve?
Yeah, I kind of wanted a little more out of her. I like as soon as she said like I'm gonna try to take Homelander down, I was like, oh, really excited to see how it happened. And I was kind of hoping it would be a little more intricate than just blackmailing him with a video, because that was kind of all it came to. And she kind of acted like she said something to Elena where she was like, I'm gonna do this, and I thought it was gonna be like a more of a long game thing where she was like gonna set him up somehow with I don't know what, but I kind of want a little more out of that. She's still one of my favorites.
Record him drinking milk.
Yeah, that wouldn't ruin his reputation, but he would definitely lose fans over that. I don't know if she knows about that though. So, but yeah, would be a decent move. But yeah, I kind of wish they did more with her because I feel like she gets sidelined and I want more from her. And like, I mean, the biggest thing with her, I talked about like the thing with Homelander outing her, and then like they got into some commentary with. I think I'm using this term right. I only learned it in the past couple months, but like the rainbow capitalism commentary, where like as soon as she's out as gay, or technically we find out she's bi, but they're like, yeah, lesbian kind of sells better, which is all sorts of like that is how, from what I can tell, that's how like rainbow capitalism tends to work, where they're
And the
like,
whole thing about the people are more comfortable with a clear male being like the dominant one in the relationship,
yeah,
as opposed to
and I was wondering like how accurate that is to like
I can't
real
speak on it, so
rainbow capitalism. And like, just to be clear, because I didn't know this term until recently, but like rainbow capitalism is basically when like a corporation uses like Pride Month or something to basically sell products.
Does that work? I don't know. Does that work?
I may not be defining that perfectly. Again, I only learned it recently, but it is like a concept that's talked about in academia. Like
that's how I felt about the Black Lives Matter. Like, you realize how many apps and companies changed their thing, their profile pics and all that to support the
Blackout
movement,
Tuesday.
and now that it's nowhere in the news anymore, and people aren't quote unquote looting, and rioting. Like, I just saw Reddit changed its icon from the black and white back to its normal icon colors of white and orange. Like, because nobody's talking about it now, like, that's not the hot thing to do. So, nobody, like, they completely forget about it and move on. It was all a stunt from a lot of these companies, and it's pretty much the same thing with the rainbow capitalism, I guess.
Yeah, I think it is the same thing. Like, I don't know if there's a term for it with what you're talking about, but absolutely, I think it's basically the same concept where they're kind of more saying like, buy our thing because we're good. Like, look at us. We're another term I've heard is performative wokeness, where it's kind of like, hey, we're up with it. We're woke. So buy our thing. Buy our sandwiches.
We have Subway sandwiches that have rainbow lettuce now.
Yep. I would not eat that though. That sounds
really
mad
gross.
toxic. That sounds like when you throw out your salad. Like
When it turns brown and all sorts of other colors.
Yeah, I don't want rainbow lettuce. I don't want the rainbow lasagna that they made for Maeve either. That doesn't sound like it would taste very good.
Yeah, that's... I don't even like normal lasagna, like frozen lasagna. This, ew.
I think it was a good thing this show was positioned to do to call that out because, with all their stuff with corporate culture, like, of course that was going to be the reaction when Maeve came out, regardless of how it happened. I think they handled it, like, well in, like, calling it out, like, kind of saying, like, hey, guys, don't do it like this. Like, this is lame and stupid.
Also, a couple of the side characters I don't like. Ashley, that director from the Dawn of the Seven movie. And the two guys that are constantly pitching. The one guy from that Key and Peele airplane sketch. And I don't know what the other guy is from, but he kind of reminds me of BJ Novak for some reason. Yeah, they're like they're the same guys that like pitched Starlight's trashy diaper looking outfit. Yeah, I just wanted to say that I don't like those side characters, but I don't think you're meant to like them. So
I do kind of feel bad for Ashley in this season. She's like stress losing her hair. Like, she's way overwhelmed in this season.
I'm really glad like she had a human moment where Maeve was like, be a fucking human being for once, and she kind of just left her alone. Like, I was proud of Ashley then. But other than that,
but like, imagine her job. Like, she's trying to like keep all these soups in line and Homelanders going off and doing stuff, and she's like, oh, please stop doing this. And like, of course it's Homelander, so what is she gonna do? Also, with the Rise of the Seven movie, like, I know we mentioned it, but of course Hans Zimmer is scoring that.
Yeah.
Like, I did like how the guy did it, like, Hans Zimmer. I was like, yep, that, like, I know exactly what that would sound like.
All right, let's finish up. Stan Edgar. I think it's Giancarlo Esposito. I think that's how you say his name. I haven't seen him in any other show. I'm aware he's in Breaking Bad, I think. But from what I've heard, he's a severely underrated actor. Even though he doesn't have any superpowers or, like, an intimidating thing about him, like, physically, maybe just his voice. That's about it. I'll admit there's, like, something captivating about watching this actor as Stan Edgar. I feel like I, like, hang on to every word he's saying. Like, that scene with him and Billy at the table, the dinner table, where they had snipers trained on... He had a couple of snipers trained on Billy. And he said that line about he can't go around, like, rampaging and throwing a temper tantrum like some entitled maniac. That's a white man's job. Like, that... Ooh.
Yeah. More white supremacy vibes there.
Yeah. But, great. I'm liking the character. I feel like he's gonna die at some point, of course. But, like, cool.
I was kind of expecting Homelander to maybe kill him at some point.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, the first scene I saw him in, I was like, well, he's gonna kill him.
I think also I felt that because he felt like kind of a replacement for Stillwell.
But he was above Stillwell.
Like, kind of filling the same role.
He was above Stillwell. Remember, she was supposed to take his position, and then she got clapped. So...
Yeah, but it still kind of felt like he was, like... If Stillwell had been alive for this season, she would have done, like...
the corporate bad
guy
the
same
thing.
things he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he's not that he's a good guy, but he's like maybe sort of a neutral party. He kind of reminds me. I feel like the best comparison for him is Tywin Lannister, although I find Tywin Lannister a lot more compelling.
He's like lawful evil, like Lex Luthor.
Yeah, lawful evil sounds right. Yep.
You have anything on him or any other character?
I did have a little bit on Ryan. Again, his actor or actors, I guess, did really well. And that scene, I thought, a really well constructed scene. When Homelander pushed him off the roof, well, that scene was so tense because, like, before that, we didn't know if he had powers. Like, I thought he really might die in that scene or, like, get really injured. Then Homelander would get pissed because he was like, oh, like he was so into like, you're my son, you can do all this stuff. And I thought it might be like a really big explosion if he found out that his kid was actually just normal.
Mm-hmm.
But then we had it turned around where he is just as powerful as Homelander. I also just feel so bad for this kid. Like, can you imagine this kid's going to be messed up no matter what?
You can't.
I kind of get the both sides of
life.
like,
yeah.
Because, like, I understand in a way, like, Homelander is saying to Becca, like, yeah, he doesn't, like, he's never been outside the neighborhood, whatever. Like, you really think that's healthy for him? Which, no, but also, like, better than Homelander parenting him by a long shot. So he just feels like he's in such a no-win situation.
There was also that really good scene with him and Homelander when he was talking about crying.
And yeah.
The softball and the doctors and all that. Yeah, that was a good scene. I just wanted to mention that scene. I almost forgot about that scene. It was a good scene. Or he had like a human moment.
And it kind of shows like, because that's kind of uncharacteristic for Homelander to be that vulnerable. But it kind of shows like how much he's invested in Ryan as his kid. Like in that scene, I was like, oh, like I don't trust him to be a good father, but like I think he actually does care about Ryan, which was kind of surprising.
Yeah. All right. Last note. Girls Get It Done versus She's Got Help Endgame. I've seen so many comments. I mean, I get it because every time I go on the boys subreddit, it's the top post about, hey, Girls Get It Done is so much better than She's Got Help from Endgame, and Endgame felt forced, and all of the fucking comments are the same. Yes, I 100% agree. I'm just really sick of seeing it on Reddit. I get it. But yes, they are right. Girls Get It Done was way more deserved. And the guys literally could do nothing because none of them have any super abilities. So they kind of did have to just sit back and watch three girls jump a Nazi girl. Woman.
Yeah, that was a really good fight scene.
Yep.
I did feel like this season with that Girls Get It Done slogan, they were kind of calling out like, this is something Disney, mostly like the Disney live action remakes, I feel like do is like lean in feminism, which I have seen mostly videos by Lindsay Ellis talking about this and like calling out how it's like it's kind of giving lip service to it without actually like promoting like any feminist themes. And I felt like maybe they could have, I thought they were going to do a little bit more with that this season because it seemed like they were setting up to from the beginning.
Girls Get It On.
That could have happened too.
No, Homelander said it. He said, yeah, girls get it on. And Ashley was like, done, girls get it done.
I don't remember that, but yeah.
That was after Maeve's lesbian scene in the movie. But go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I am remembering this a bit now. But yeah, like, I just find that cringy when Disney does like lean in feminism because like I think you can't like there are some really good movies out there that like could be called like feminist narratives, but there's a lot more that has to go into it and you can't just do like that lean in thing. And you know, I'd like someone to do a breakdown and look at like whether The Boys is more in like the lean in camp or if it's like actually being like a solid feminist narrative. I don't know, but I feel like it maybe could be either or like a mix of both.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to see someone do a breakdown of that.
Yeah.
Because they do seem to be
I don't
calling it out and like trying to do better with it than a lot of other superhero media does.
I don't think we're qualified to talk about it.
Yeah, as two straight cis guys, probably not the best combination for that.
Yeah, so we're just gonna leave that alone. Better than Endgame, though. That scene where they said, she's got help, and they all posed for a shot and then immediately split up without doing any sort of action together. Yeah. Black Noir is allergic to nuts. That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, that happened. I really don't know how to feel about that.
He's a vegetable. His weakness is a fucking candy bar.
Mm-hmm.
Almond Joy. Almonds.
I don't know. I really don't know if I'm here for that or not. Like, that was just so... That just came out of nowhere.
No, it didn't, because there was a little bit of foreshadowing when that... Remember when he was looking for Butcher, and I think it was episode 4, looking for Butcher, and the Annika, the analysis lady, was eating Almond Joy, and he put the trash can up to her face, and she threw it out without finishing it, and then he sat down with her.
Oh, I did not pick up on that.
Yeah, Evan. What's up, Evan? You gotta pay attention to that foreshadowing, you heard me?
It's an Almond Joy.
Yeah.
I know it's foreshadowing.
All of that. Lamplighter was killed off too soon. Either the showrunner or director said they regret it. One of them. I don't know if they're the same person. I haven't been paying attention to the credits. Lamplighter. Yeah, he was introduced and then capped. He clapped himself. He was also watching porn in the middle. That was really weird.
Oh yeah, I was as soon as they showed like the suit porn, I was like,
You
of
know
course there's suit porn.
they actually filmed that.
I mean, I guess they would have had to.
No, like the actors, they hired people like pornographic actors to do that.
I did not know.
No,
that.
those are full actual things. All the ones Lamplighter reads, yes, all of the ones Lamplighter reads off, those are all available, but not technically available. Like, they're ready to release if Amazon is brave enough to release them, which I don't think they will. But those are, just know those exist in their entirety. Like, you can watch Home Banger and Big Black Noir and all of that. Just so you know.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a thing then.
It exists. Yep, they could have done so much more with Lamplighter, but they clapped him, bro. Like, I really felt like I thought he was a piece of crap ever since, Mallory was talking about her grandkids. And then he admitted he didn't know, and I was like, oh, no. I immediately felt bad for him right there. I was like, oh, well, he was supposed to kill their boss, and, it was just the wrong target. Like, bro, no. Why were they sleeping in their grandmother's bed anyway, first of all? Second, oh, no. Oh, it was just bad bad. It was unfortunate, Yeah, He had potential, I think. He could have stayed for a little while longer.
Yeah, it seemed a little random how he died.
Yep.
Like, just torching himself.
Yep. I'm trying to come up with a fire pun, but I can't.
There probably is one out there.
I've seen, there was a whole comment thread with Lamplighter being burned alive puns.
Yeah. I feel like that's a very memeable moment.
He's a pretty fire character.
Pretty fire character.
Oh my god.
Did we ever bring that out with Last Airbender? I feel like there must have been someone we said that of.
Probably. Oh.
Did we say that about Zuko? I feel like one of us said like Zuko was a fire character at one point.
Probably. I wouldn't put it past either one of us.
I would not either.
He also played Shawn Ashmore. He played Iceman. He was also in a game, Man of Medan video game about making choices and spookiness. Oh, wasn't he also he was in another game too. I think it was Quantum Break or something like that. I don't remember. But he's Iceman. Iceman now the fire guy, and he did.
So, oh yeah, I didn't even notice that. Yeah.
He became Pyro long enough to become the villain. All right, twist ending with Newman. We're finally here.
I have just one extra note.
Neil.
If you're done with yours. Yep, Neil from Greendale. That scene was kind of heartbreaking, but
Yes,
like
very.
as soon as I was like, "Yo, it's Neil."
I think you mean Fat Neil. No, I'm kidding.
I think I mean actual Neil.
Yeah.
If you're a real fan.
Yeah.
This is Real Neil from Greendale Radio, signing off with the sweet sounds of daybreak.
Neil.
Yep, it's good to see him doing something else, and like he did a great job in that role, even though he was only in about 3 minutes.
Hey, he was also on Reddit, so I'm gonna stay away from Reddit from now on.
Yeah. No, he seems like a really good actor though. Like I'd like to see him in other things.
Reddit refers to him as the Stormfront simp. That's not right. But the other half refers to him as Neil or Fat Neil.
Yeah. I would like to see him in more, because I also just wish he was in more of Community. Like I wish he had joined the
he was
group
one of my
after
favorite
Troy
side
and
characters.
Pierce left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they had Keith David, so that's good. I like Keith.
Yeah, I still would have rather Neil. Like I think Neil should have just been part of the study group. Like
He was probably one of my favorite side characters, besides, of course, Magnitude. But he was only good for cameos.
Yeah,
Leonard was
and
pretty
Garrett,
funny.
but like I don't want.
I know.
Garrett to
I don't
be
like
in
Garrett.
the
I don't
group.
like Garrett. I never liked Garrett.
At
Please
all?
stop. No. No. Stop talking.
Righteous alert.
No. No.
I think he can. Like he's fun in
dude.
small
No.
doses.
No. I don't. No. Whenever he's in the show, I'm rolling my eyes. I don't like Garrett. I'm sorry. Starburns.
Garrett, it's like God spill the person.
No.
That is his vibe though.
I'm good on that. Leonard. I'd rather Leonard over fucking Garrett. Sorry, but Leonard, eat my
Anyone
shorts.
for
man.
Garrett? I got in line for ice cream. He got in line for ice cream. I was rewatching the political race one a few weeks ago.
Now here's a man that knows how to marry his cousin.
Yes. Also, though, in that political one, I've been thinking for like such a long time about Jeff's line. I think 9/11 was bad. I think freedom. Well, I think that's just a little bit better. I was like, wow. Like literally every like political ad is that vibe.
Oh man.
We got to talk about Community someday. I don't know how long we want to wait on that, but like,
Oh, one of my favorite lines
amazing.
was, what did Britta say? She said, I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at something. And then
I think it's
Shirley was
animal
like,
cruelty.
Oh, animal cruelty. She said, you could excuse racism.
yeah, I've seen people have been making a
Oh
meme of
my
that
God.
with like and like subbing in animal
Yep.
cruelty with like other things.
Oh my god. Oh, this is a great show, dude.
It's kind of the best.
Oh my god. That's the boys. That's the boys. That's been the
season
boys. Welcome to the end of the episode. If you made it this far, thanks.
Yeah, if we're done, we just got the boilerplate left. So next couple episodes.
Well, when is it gonna start boiling? I'm sorry. Get to
Watch pot never boils, bro. Give it a second.
Oh. It's been over 17 episodes, Evan.
Well, you
gotta-
got to keep boiling it. So, upcoming episodes. My next pick is The Devil Wears Prada. Not on any streaming services right now. That's going to be next, and then we have Circle, which I believe is on Netflix.
Social experiment movie. Not actually, but kind of.
Yeah. And we're also going to do just a fun little bonus episode on fictional characters that we think might be fun to have in like big political roles.
The
Grinch is president. Yeah, just like a few people, just in light of the election, just kind of have a little fun with who might be a fun fictional president.
Bugs Bunny as General of the Army.
I mean, he got that plot armor.
Michael
so...
Jordan from Space Jam as vice president. The Michael Jordan not Michael Jordan, the real one, just the one from Space Jam as vice president.
I have not seen Space Jam in a long time, so I don't know.
You need
My roommate has it on
refreshing.
Blu-ray though, so I could watch
You
it.
need Space Jam in your existence again. You need to consume
I have
that.
seen it. I
No.
think I was like 4 though.
You need to
long
buy
time.
another disc, eat that disc, and then watch the movie while the disc is digesting in your stomach.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of anything that much. That's also a weird way to show fandom. Anyway, that is going to be an episode. If you think Bugs Bunny, and like if we get this out in time, send in your picks to us. Like tweet at us your picks for fictional leaders, politicians, something. If you think Bugs
Arnold
Bunny
Schwarzenegger
should be president,
as the governor of California.
now that would be interesting.
Yeah.
That's one I haven't heard before. Other stuff. Our logo's by Kelsey Hendry. We have a Patreon now. You can support us for $1 a month and listen to our takedowns of the Sam Raimi's Spider-Man
we
trilogy.
Suffered through that, and you need to suffer. Listen to us and how much we suffered.
We are not nice. We are not very clean, but we went to town on those. And I think we learned some writing lessons along the way.
Yes. It's about the writing lessons we learned along the way.
Yep. And we learned to max out at 2 cookies with no nuts. Learn more with our Spider-Man 3 episode. And we learned that punches do not make you bleed. So, some very educational stuff in those episodes for $1 a month. You can subscribe, rate, and leave reviews on iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter at INTAnalysis18. You can follow me on Twitter at Davos Watson. And where can people find you?
Jelani T. Kelly, at Jelani T. Kelly on Twitter, at Based Phoenix on Instagram. I got a children's book out. For children's version of Descended Awakening. It's just like 5 pages. Well, 10 pages, 5 pictures if you get the Kindle. But if you get the paperback, your boy had to hook you up. So you got coloring and quiz questions in the paperback version. So go ahead and grab yourself a copy and give it a 5-star review on Amazon and read it to the kids. It's for the kids. It's the children's version of the book. The normal book has a lot of swearing and action and violence. But this is kid friendly because it's for the kids. And
I'd say the actual book is like middle grade, maybe like 7th grade up level.
You think?
I feel like it's
with how many F-bombs?
I do. I feel like.
Well, yeah, I guess we read To Kill a Mockingbird in 8th grade, so there's that.
Yeah, you read Catcher in the. It says like mature as Catcher in the Rye.
I read that in 10th.
Yeah, I think I did too. But yeah, we'll have a link to the kids' book and the regular book in the show notes, so you can go ahead and check those out.
Do that.
So, yeah, if that's all, we will see you guys next episode.
Yes, bye.